It's a quiet evening, the kind where the world outside seems to settle into a peaceful hush. And in that stillness, as the day winds down and the familiar aches of time remind you of the years that have passed, a thought crosses your mind, one that perhaps you've pushed aside for far too long. You wonder, am I still taking proper care of myself? Not just my health or my responsibilities, but my most private self? If that thought has crossed your mind, even in passing, you're not alone. And today, we're going to have the kind of honest, compassionate conversation that most men avoid, but every man over 60 needs to hear. Because the truth is, as your body changes with age, the way you care for yourself must change too. And that includes how you approach the most intimate and personal part of your life, your relationship with your own body. I remember vividly a man named Henry. At 72, Henry was the very picture of a man who had lived life with quiet dignity. A retired teacher, a devoted husband until his wife's passing, and a father whose children admired his strength but worried about the sadness that had settled quietly behind his eyes. When he came to me, he wasn't there for a medical emergency. He came because, in his own words, he felt disconnected from his body, from his vitality, and from the simple joys he once knew. He admitted that after his wife passed, he quietly set aside the part of himself that sought comfort in physical touch. He told himself that it was inappropriate at his age, that it didn't serve any purpose anymore. But as the years passed, that denial didn't bring him peace, it brought him a deeper kind of loneliness. And what Henry didn't know, what so many men don't realize, is that the way you care for your body, even in the privacy of those most intimate moments, plays a vital role in your health, your happiness, and even the strength of your heart. You see, as we age, circulation slows, sensitivity shifts, and the body begins to ask for a gentler, more thoughtful kind of attention. The hurried habits of youth no longer serve the man who has earned the right to slow down, to savor, and to care for himself with the same tenderness he once offered to others. And that's where Henry's journey began, not with a prescription, not with a complicated medical plan, but with the simple decision to reconnect with his own body through mindful self-care. The first thing Henry learned was that lubrication wasn't just a luxury, it was essential. His skin, once resilient and forgiving, had grown thinner, more sensitive. And without proper care, what should have been a moment of relaxation and comfort became an experience of discomfort and tension. He discovered that choosing the right kind of lubricant made all the difference. Not the harsh, chemical-laden options he found in stores, but gentle, natural alternatives that respected the delicate balance of his skin. With this small but powerful change, something remarkable happened. Those moments of self-connection no longer left him feeling sore or regretful. They left him feeling calm, relaxed, and most importantly, cared for. And it wasn't just his body that benefited. His mind began to quiet. The restless nights that once plagued him became softer. His thoughts, once clouded by the weight of unspoken grief, began to settle. And as his body relaxed, so did his heart. His blood pressure, which had stubbornly resisted medication, began to ease. His sleep deepened, and with each passing week, he found himself waking with a renewed sense of energy and purpose. This is the unseen power of mindful self-care after 60. It's not about chasing the passions of youth or trying to relive moments that have passed. It's about honoring the body you have today, with all its changes and wisdom. It's about slowing down, breathing deeply, and treating each moment of touch not as a means to an end but as a way to remind yourself that you are still here, still worthy of pleasure, still deserving of comfort, still alive in every beautiful sense of the word. Henry found his way back to that truth, and in doing so, he found his way back to life. In the next part of our journey, we'll explore how the simple act of adjusting your technique, approaching these moments with patience and presence, can transform not just your physical experience but the way you walk through the world. Stay with me. The most important lessons are still ahead, and they may just change the way you see yourself and your health forever. Henry's story didn't end with that first small change. In fact, that was just the beginning of a transformation that touched every part of his life. And it all began when he discovered the second essential care tip that so many men overlook, learning to slow down and be fully present with himself. You see, after a lifetime of responsibilities, of putting others first and always moving from one task to the next, slowing down felt unnatural to Henry. Like many men his age, his approach to intimacy, whether shared or private, had always been about quick release rather than meaningful connection. It had been something to get through, not something to truly experience. But his body, with all its years of service and silent endurance, was now asking for something different. It wasn't calling for urgency or force, it was asking for patience, for a gentler rhythm that matched the pace of his heart and the wisdom of his years. So, Henry tried something new. Instead of rushing through those quiet moments, he gave himself permission to take his time. He turned those private moments into a ritual of self-care, not a task to complete but an experience to embrace. He focused on his breathing, letting each inhale bring calm and each exhale release the tension he'd carried for far too long. And with this shift came an unexpected gift. Those moments that once left him feeling alone and disconnected became a source of peace. He discovered new sensations in his own touch, soft, slow, deeply satisfying in a way he hadn't known was possible. It was in those quiet, unhurried moments that Henry finally began to make peace with his body as it was now. He stopped measuring himself against the man he used to be and started accepting the man he had become. And in that acceptance, he found a profound sense of freedom. What he didn't expect was how this simple shift began to spill over into the rest of his life. He found himself slowing down in other ways, too, savoring his morning coffee rather than gulping it down, taking longer walks simply to feel the air on his face, and actually hearing the laughter of his grandchildren in a way that touched his heart more deeply than before. And isn't that what we're all really searching for? Not just more time, but more life in the time we have left. Henry also learned the importance of being kind to himself in those moments. The years had changed his body, there was no denying that. His skin was softer, his responses slower, and his sensitivity different from what it had once been. But instead of meeting those changes with frustration or disappointment, he chose to meet them with compassion. That's the third essential care tip I want you to take to heart. Let go of expectations rooted in the past and embrace the reality of who you are now, with kindness and grace. Your body may not respond the way it once did, and that's okay. It's not failing you, it's simply asking for a different kind of care. When you stop demanding that your body perform like it did at 25 and start listening to what it truly needs at 60, 70, or even 80, you'll find that satisfaction doesn't disappear. It simply takes a new, richer form. Henry discovered that exploring his own body with curiosity rather than judgment opened new doors to pleasure he never expected. He paid attention to the little things, the warmth of his own hands, the feeling of his heartbeat slowing as he relaxed into each moment. And in doing so, he found something far more valuable than the fleeting satisfaction of his younger years. He found peace. And with that peace came a newfound sense of confidence. He no longer carried the silent shame that had weighed him down. He no longer felt that this part of his life had to remain hidden or unspoken. Instead, he felt proud that he had taken the time to care for himself, to honor his own needs without apology. This confidence didn't just stay locked away in private moments. It became part of how he carried himself in the world. His shoulders seemed less burdened. His smile came more easily. And people noticed. His children saw the light return to his eyes. His friends commented on his renewed energy. And Henry, for the first time in years, felt like he wasn't just surviving each day, he was living it. So, as you reflect on this part of our conversation, I asked you, what might change in your life if you allowed yourself to slow down, to be present, to meet yourself exactly as you were with kindness and care? What moments of quiet joy have you been missing simply because you haven't given yourself permission to embrace them? In the final part of this journey, we'll explore the last 2 essential care tips, practical steps that will not only improve your intimate well-being but also help you walk through your days with a heart that feels lighter, a mind that feels clearer, and a body that feels truly cared for. Stay with me, my friend. The best part of this journey is still ahead. And now we've arrived at the final, most powerful part of this journey together, the place where knowledge becomes action and those quiet realizations turn into the small, life-changing habits that breathe new energy into your days. Because at the end of the day, it's not enough to simply understand what your body needs. You have to give yourself permission to receive it, to fully experience the care and connection you've long denied. Henry's final lessons were the ones that stayed with him the longest. The 4th essential care tip he learned was about creating the right environment for self-care, transforming those quiet moments from something hurried and hidden into something sacred and intentional. You see, most men approach self-pleasure as an afterthought. A moment squeezed into the day without thought or preparation. But your body, especially now, responds to atmosphere, to comfort, to a sense of calm. And when you take the time to prepare your space, whether it's dimming the lights, choosing soft music, or simply ensuring the room feels warm and inviting, you signal to yourself that this isn't just an act of habit. It's an act of care. Henry started turning these moments into rituals. He found a special chair by the window where the afternoon sunlight poured in just right. He brought a soft blanket into the space, creating an environment that felt safe, peaceful, and comforting. And in doing so, he found that his body relaxed more easily. His mind slowed down. And the experience became not just a moment of release, but a source of deep relaxation and emotional healing. And that's something I want you to hold close. When you create space for yourself, both physically and emotionally, you open the door to a level of satisfaction that runs far deeper than the surface. And then came the final care tip, the one that tied everything together. Henry realized that self-care isn't just something you do when you feel lonely or restless. It's something you choose as part of a larger commitment to your health, your happiness, and your well-being. He started viewing this practice not as a response to emptiness but as a way to celebrate his life. He stopped waiting for moments of sadness or longing to remind him to care for himself. Instead, he built it into his routine, a small but powerful daily act of kindness toward his own body and heart. And as he did, his life transformed in ways he never expected. That lingering sense of isolation faded. He found himself more engaged with the world. He started painting again, a passion he hadn't touched in years. He reconnected with old friends and even made new ones at a local community group. And every time he looked in the mirror, he saw not a man who had grown old and weary, but a man who had chosen to live fully, right here, right now. This is the final and most important truth I want to leave you with. You are not waiting for life to happen. Life is already here, unfolding around you in every breath, every quiet moment, every decision you make to care for yourself or let another day slip by without honoring the man you've become. And if you take nothing else from our time together today, let it be this: you are worthy of care. You are worthy of comfort. And you are still, right now, fully capable of feeling alive, connected, and at peace in your own body. So, don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait for someone else to give you permission. Choose today. Choose now. And if this message has touched something in you, if it's reminded you of the quiet truths you've been too busy or too hesitant to face, I invite you to take one small but powerful step right now. Like this video, it helps others find their way to these words when they need them most. And if you feel called to, share your thoughts in the comments below. Your story, no matter how simple or small it might feel, could be the very encouragement another man needs to hear to begin his own journey back to himself. And of course, if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel. There are more conversations ahead, more moments of discovery and healing waiting for you. Together, we'll continue to explore how life after 60 can be richer, fuller, and more deeply satisfying than you ever imagined. Until we meet again, take good care of your heart. Be gentle with your body. And remember, you are not running out of time. You're standing at the very threshold of everything beautiful that's still to come. And all you have to do is step forward and claim it.